explanation for anything. Does this answer your question, or there was?
No, I think it does. I as the last bit of time I've been reading more and more about the Mayan culture, and I came across something talking about the city of Tula, and that the secret of peace was the unity of all things. And it kind of, what you said, kind of falls in with the unity consciousness in the Tree of Life, and I can see where you're coming from. So thank you.
Thank you.
I have another question. You state that after 10 to the negative 35th seconds that the three-dimensional axes emerge. And I was wondering what the universe looked like before them.
Well, I could say that I wasn't there to see, but it would have been interesting to see what was happening there. But, I just imagine that it was sort of some kind of a core atom or something like that, a center of the universe before the axis would go out from this center and form the volume and the directions of the universe. And it's really, I really wouldn't know. It's just my imagination that would be the easiest way of explaining it.
You had talked about background radiation, the CMB, those studies indicating that the universe has always contained a potentially organizing structure. Would that be something that would flow with that? You know, what the universe looked like before the Big Bang or before it emerged?
Well, I think before the Big Bang, that's really the state when there is no structure. Maybe just a being, and the Popol Vuh talks about the universe before the Tree of Life was activated, and said that it would slumber for 7 eternities. That's how it was put there. It would slumber for 7 eternities, and
that's a long slumber.
That's a long slumber. That's Rip Van Winkle or whatever his name was. Yeah, it's a long time. And but it's really you coming into things that knowledge becomes impossible almost, I would say. We can only seek to find metaphors or something like that. It's just incomprehensible to us, I would say.
Well, since we weren't there, huh?
Well, yeah.
Also, you talk about the galactic underworld that has an elusive physical presence, dark matter. Yet, dark matter is nonetheless physically detectable. And so I was wondering if all levels have such a physical presence, however elusive.
Well, I'm not sure if I would agree that dark matter is something that is physically detectable. That you would have to tell me how it is. As far as I can tell, it is not physically detectable. But you do see a couple of effects that have made some people postulate that dark matter exists. My take on it is a little bit different. It is this idea that the systems of the universe is organized through some kind of a halos.
Yes.
That are providing the volume, the basic spatial organizational limits for any structure in the universe, and so in my view, there is no need to assume that there exists such a thing as dark matter, but I am open to the possibility that I could be disproved here, but I haven't seen that yet. I haven't heard of anything that actually directly assigns this any kind of substance to this dark matter.
Okay. Well, I'm not a physicist, so I think that we've reached the end of my knowledge. It just simply, I know that I had read that there was, some people think that there's like 3/4 of the universe might be dark energy and 23% dark matter. But
oh, absolutely. That's the you would say the majority position of physicists. I'm just saying that. So you're not, if you say that, you're certainly on aligned with what most physicists would say. It's just that I dispute that. And I dispute it because I have not seen any real evidence. It's a way of reasoning, but it's very indirect that they're using to argue that there is such a thing as dark matter. But you're certainly not alone. You're actually representing the majority position of physicists when you say these things.
Well, it's always good to win over the physicists by at least acknowledging the things that they like to say. I have another question. Speaking of physicist sorts of things, you mentioned the fine-tuning of atoms is necessary for any kind of existence. Does that imply that it should have its own level, like the wave levels, where you begin with you began the wave cycle with the cellular level, and I'm thinking, well, what about the atoms?
Yeah, why isn't there a level that developed the atoms sort of separately? Is that kind of the question?
Well, it's like you have things in a ladder, and cell is the most primitive level, but really there's atoms.
There is, that's right. But the lowest level, it's not that it only develops cells. It did develop the basic atomic materials of the universe. It did develop the molecules. It developed the cells, but it also developed the planets and the galaxies and the overall structure of the universe. So it's the reason it's called cellular underworld is that in terms of what kind of life, what kind of consciousness that these different levels are generating, then it would be most appropriate, I think, to call it the cellular level. But that doesn't imply that it also that these cells, they do use obviously atoms and molecules or whatever to constitute the cellular structure.
So it's inclusive of it then? Would you say that?
Yes, I would say.
Okay. And I have a very interesting question. I listened to YouTube of you with Juicy Living Tours, and you mentioned something about the comet Calleman.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I'm actually right now I'm writing an article with it and about it, and I consider it a very important article. So I'm weighing every word very seriously, and I will be Friday in a discussion on Project Camelot with a couple of other people around this matter of Calleman and what it is and how I understand it. And what I can say is that I believe that it is the messenger of the end of time, so to speak. And the end of time, so I believe it is the blue star, the Hopi prophecy. And I do think also that it's a signal. Its closest distance from the Earth is, just a couple of days before the calendar comes to an end on October 28th of this year. And so I do also believe, having thought about it, that it may signal actually quite large cataclysms or earth changes on our planet. So this is something I'm writing about now. For the time being, I tend to believe that it is correct when the astronomers are saying that this is a small chunk of ice.
Right.
But I do think it is the messenger. And it's not only this Elenin, but it's also preceded by another comet that is coming in August that is called the Honda comet. And there are many prophecies regarding this that this is something I'm writing about, and it's what it means, I think, is that what this article aims to do is to create a completely coherent picture where we can see that the evolutionary model of 9 levels is completely fits with a number of prophecies regarding the end times. And here the comet Elenin is, to me, my interpretation is that it's a messenger. It is the blue star of Hopi prophecy. That's what I think.
Well, that's certainly something to watch. Does it do anything before mid to late October? Does it?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's many different theories. So I'm sure you're aware, or you might be aware. And there is the time in September where it passes between the Earth and the Sun, and which is by itself also a reason to think about it. And if you want to hear, I mean, the number of theories are vast, I would say. Some people say it's a manned spacecraft. Others say that it's linked to this Nibiru brown dwarf, and then there are people saying that its alignments are causing earthquakes at certain points of its orbit, and
I've heard that.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's as with everything these days, there's always, it has to be spiced up with conspiracies and that this is being covered up.
Well, it does make life interesting to have them.
Yeah, but it's almost becoming so commonplace that it gets boring, I think. But
that's true.
Well, I don't know, but I think it really is. It's sort of that's the main way of looking at things these days, and I'm not sure even that it's the most. It is relevant, even if it were a conspiracy. So what? But anyway, but you get my take on it in essence. That yes.